Well, hello everybody. Danny back from Deep South Homestead. Just sitting here in the barn taking a break. Been going at it all day long out here on the homestead trying to get as much done as quickly as possible. And I just felt the urge when I stopped to take a little break here to do this video. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. And haven't really been able to figure out how to say it and how to do it, but I think I can make it happen. Well, my calves are behind this wall here. They used to, when they hear me in here, they are just big babies. Two of them's ready to fix and be in the next couple of months. Two of them's fixing to go off to the butcher house, and then one of the little females is going to be sold. So if you hear them blating or mooing here behind me, whichever one you want to call it, then they're hiding behind that wall right there waiting to be fed. But guys, with everything that we're facing in the world today, there's a feeling, and I was one of the ones that was guilty of this right here in the beginning, what I'm fixing to tell you. When I moved out here where I'm at, back in 1989, there was nobody out here. Me and one old gentleman that lived down the road from me there, and maybe two. There was one another mile further down, but we were the only people on this whole road through here. Several miles of road through here, we were the only people in here. And my thing then was I wanted to be off where there was nobody. And I moved off out here, and it was just me, my wife, my kids, these two elderly gentlemen that lived down the road here. And that was it. There was nobody. And to me, I thought I was in paradise when I was younger. Man, I mean, I was blowing and going out here. I was working on the place, and wildlife was plentiful. I mean, I thought to myself, I am living the dream. But you see, there was a big misconception in a lot of this. I was young. I was young, but I mean, I was younger. I had really good health at the time. I mean, literally, when you're at that age, it seems like everything is just hunky-dory for you in your life, and you can live off out in the wilderness by yourself, and you and your family's like the Swiss Family Robinson. We can do this thing, you know. But as I began to get older, I come to the realization that a person needs community, because there was so many things out here by myself I just didn't have access to. Now, there was a gentleman down the road, way down the road down yonder, who come by one day, and he said, I'm your distant neighbor. I live way down yonder, you know. And I said, well, good to meet you. And he said, what can I do to help you? I was like, I'd never heard that from anybody in my life. I was a grown man, never heard anybody say, what can I do to help you? And I said, sir, I don't really need any help. I said, I'm making it on my own. He said, well, I want to help you. He said, what are your plans around here? He said, you're new here. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm working on building my house right now. As a matter of fact, I was in the process of building my own home. I wasn't living here, but I was building my house, getting ready to move here. And he said, well, are you going to put a garden or what? I told him, I said, yeah. I said, back here behind the house, I showed him, I said, I'm going to clean off this here, push all these trees out here at some point, make my garden right here. This is good and level. And I said, a place right over on the other, that hill right over there, I'm going to clean all that off over there. And I'm going to put me some fruit orchard over there. I said, I've done walked the property out. I said, I believe those are the two things right now that I know for sure. And he said, well, you know, a man needs to think ahead when he does stuff. And I said, well, yeah. I said, I'm doing the best I can. I'm having to work plus build my home. And, you know, I was explaining to him on a very limited budget. And he said, I just wanted to drop by and say hey, and tell you that I'm a distant neighbor miles and miles and miles over yonder, you know. Tell me where he lived at. And I said, well, thank you for dropping by. And he said, I don't want to keep you from working because I know you're trying to get a lot done on your house. Well, he left. I came back the next weekend to work on my house again, because that's the only time I had to work on it was in the weekends. And when I come back on the weekend, the whole place where I said I wanted my garden was all pushed and clean. And where I wanted my fruit orchard was all pushed and clean. And I looked and I said, I never told him to do that. I said, how am I going to pay this guy? I'm barely having enough money to build my house with. And he came by and he said, did I get it right? And I said, sir, I didn't tell you to do this. I said, I don't have any money to pay you. He said, you don't owe me a dime. He said, this is what community does. Community helps one another. He said, I have a dozer, and it just sits at the house most of the time. He said, I brought it up here and pushed that for you during the week. And I said, well, I need to pay you something. He said, no, you don't. That's what community does. And when I got ready to move to the new property, see, I lived in another town way away from here. And I had told a friend of mine from way down the other side of New Orleans, down toward New Orleans, I said, about 2 hours from me. He and I were talking. I told him, I said, yeah, I'm going to be moving. I told him what weekend I was going to be moving and everything. And that weekend, early that Saturday morning, Steve showed up at the house. And I said, what are you doing? He said, ain't this the day you're going to move? I said, yeah. He said, I'm here to help you move. He said, I'm a firefighter and I'm supposed to be working today. He said, but I took the day off. He said, I'm going to help you move. I said, man, I don't have any money to pay you for that. He said, you don't have to pay me. He said, that's what friends do. And he helped me move. And one day, what would have took me Saturday and Sunday to move on, he helped me do it. We did it in one day. And guys, that is what community is really all about. Now, this past weekend, let me say that, y'all have heard me talk about on my live stream and other videos about we have pigs. We had this and that. We named them this and that. We had 2 pigs. One of them loaded up in the trailer and went right on to the slaughterhouse. The other one, I didn't feed that pig for 4 days, and he would not go in that chute. And I had to feed in the chute, not in the trailer, in the chute. He would not go up in that chute to go in that trailer. And I eventually called the slaughterhouse and told them the situation I had, and the young lady that run it told me, she said, it's not a problem. She said, I'll get my guy and we'll come over and we'll shoot him and bleed him out right there and we'll bring him on and we'll butcher him. Well, guys, when I was telling that story on my live stream, a gentleman, Mr. Barrett, and his son Bryce lives just, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes from me here, called the next morning and said, look, can we come over and help you put that pig in the trailer? Or text us. Wanda got the message. And she relayed it to me, and I told him, I said, look, I got a lot to do today. I don't have time to worry with this pig today, you know. And she said, well, Danny, they said they'd come do it. I said, they're not going to get this pig in this trailer. But I tell you what, if they think they can put that pig in that trailer, tell them to come on. And I said, now I may have to keep working, but if they want to try, that's fine, because we get him in that trailer, we take him to the slaughterhouse, so they'll have him for Monday. And of course they came, and they said they had never seen a pig that stubborn that you just could not get him to go in a chute. And plus, he's huge. He was bound 350 to 375 pounds. He's a big pig. Well, we come to the conclusion, the gentleman looked at me and he said, look, if you want us to, we'll dispatch him and we'll take him over to a friend's house. He's got a cooler. We'll skin him and we'll butcher him for you and hang him. And you come and get him when you need, and you can use any equipment here, the band saws to cut the pork chops or anything up with. And I told him, I said, well, I said, that's mighty nice of you to offer that. And he said, not a problem. You don't owe me nothing. He said, I'll just do it for you. And I agreed to it. And even the dispatching of this pig was a big time effort. I mean, it took a lot longer than we ever anticipated. And the guy looked at me when it was over. He said, I've never in my life seen a pig that hard to get rid of. And I told him, I said, well, I told you this pig was a problem. Anyway, Him and his son took the pig, took it over to a friend's house, they skinned it out and hung it in a cooler for me. Guys, that's what community is. That's what it means to be helped. And guys, the only examples I can give you are examples that I myself have experienced. Just this past week, I had found some cub parts in Crossville, Tennessee, from a gentleman up there, an elderly gentleman, who his neighbor had had 2 heart attacks, and his family had made him move to another state, and he had a cub farm all there, and he had everything I needed to go with my cub farm all in mint condition. And I told the gentleman, I said, sir, I will pay you. What do you want for it? He told me, I said, I will pay that. And he said, well, if you can just come pick it up. I said, look, I can't come pick it up. I'm over 10, 11 hours away from you. I can't come pick it up. I said, but I will pay you if you'll put it on a pallet and ship it for me. I will be more than happy to pay for that. Nope, not doing that. He said, I'm not going to do that. So I had told Wanda, I said, I guess I'm just fixing to lose out on a deal of a lifetime, because here was everything I needed to go under my cub in mint condition, almost new condition, hardly ever been used, and a surplus of stuff to go with it. And I have no way of getting it. And I was on the phone with Mr. Billy from Permapasture Farms and Justin Metcalf from Metcalf Mills. And we were talking about a totally different subject. And they looked at each other and said, Danny, that's just a couple of hours from where we live. We'll be more than happy to go get that for you and pay for it, and put it on a pallet and drop it through a buy place and have it shipped to you. And you can just pay me back later. And guys, I almost cried, and I don't cry, but I almost broke down and cried. It touched me that this community that we're part of here is that tight-knit. Because when I called the gentleman back, I told him, I said, look, I have 2 friends from North Carolina that's going to come over there to Crossville, Tennessee. They're going to pay you, and then they're going to take it and ship it to me. He said, he looked at me, well, he told me over the phone, he said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, that, my friend, is good friends. And I told him, I said, sir, we have a very close community. And he said, I've never seen community or friends that close. And I told him, I said, well, these guys are 2 of the best guys I've ever known in my life. And guys, you don't find people like this everywhere. Now, Mr. Justin Metcalf is in the process of building a vertical grist mill. Most all of them are horizontal, but he's building a vertical one that can be used to not only grind corn, but can grind flour. And he and I have been talking about rice, if it could be used for rice. And he said, Danny, I'm in the process. I have a prototype that I'm making. I'm going to be taking it to a show just south of Nashville there in at the end of April. And he said, if I can get it done. He said, the only problem is, he said, I'm struggling financially trying to get all the stuff together to make this happen. He said, I want to provide these for everybody. I'd love to see one in every community in the United States, because Danny, he said, what's coming in this country, we're going to have to go back to the old ways, and there's going to have to be one in every community for people to have a place to grind their grain and stuff like that. He says, and I want to be the man that puts these out there and is able to help everybody. He said, and I don't know about doing a Kickstarter. He said, I just don't know if I feel right about that. And I told him, I said, Justin, don't worry about it. I said, I think it's well worth it to do a Kickstarter. I said, I myself, Wanda and I talked about it, we're going to be one of the first people to donate to it, because I believe that it's something that's going to be needed. As a matter of fact, I've already told Justin I'm going to purchase one of his first ones from him, because I feel that strongly about it. People with gluten issues and all kinds of stuff, and the thing about it is now, you have to understand something about Justin. Justin is only one of, as far as I know, like maybe 4 people in the whole United States that dresses millstones. The guy is so highly sought after. I mean, he's a professional in what he does. And I thought I was meticulous about everything. But after talking to Justin and looking at his work, and he's more meticulous, I believe, than I am. And that really impresses me. And that's without, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Wanda and I said we will purchase one of the first ones. And we're also going to donate a certain amount of money to make sure he has a good start. And guys, if you feel the same way about community like I do, and the way these men and all these other brothers and sisters have helped us, then guys, donate to Justin over at Metcalf Mills and help him out so we can get these things going. Because he told me on the phone, I was talking to him the other day, he told me, he said, Danny, I feel so hard pressed to get this done because I don't know how much time we have. And I would hate to know that something happened and I didn't get these out there to people, and then there's no way for people to grind their grain and have a good way to do it. And plus, this one's American made, right in the mountains of North Carolina. And I told him, I said, Justin, don't worry about it. I said, God's in this. God will bless this. And guys, it's not only Justin, and it's not only Billy, and it's not only all these others. I have another neighbor over here, Mr. Darrell, that lives right next to me over here. A couple of years ago, I couldn't get out and cut any firewood. He came over here and cut my firewood for me. I mean, I was totally blown away at how nice this gentleman was and how he was willing to come over. And actually, we did a YouTube video on it. My other neighbor that lives next to me here, Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul had a big place cleared off to put a big greenhouse on his property, and there was a lot of timber in there. And he told me, he said, if you'll come over here and help me clean this up, you can have this timber for firewood. And guys, I went over, Wanda and I, and helped him and Miss Amanda, and we cut firewood. That is what community is really all about. Even my other neighbor that lives over on the other side from me, Mr. Kevin, and his wife, back when my wife had cancer and was passing away in the hospital all the time, I had a little house dog at the time, and I had a place here that I needed checked up on and watched because I wasn't home all the time. They came by all the time and checked on everything here for me and took care of my pet while I had to be at the hospital with her. They did this all the time. That's what good neighbors and good community is all about. Even on our YouTube channel, Kevin and Sarah from Living Traditions, we were looking at some things up in Missouri, and Kevin and Sarah are really dear friends of ours. Kevin and Sarah took time out of their daily schedules, and they went to the different properties that Wanda and I were looking at, and they went over them and talked to the people and set up meetings and called us back, and we sat and talked about everything that they seen, what they thought, and all these kind of things about some property. Guys, that's what community and true friends do. They're great people. And I could keep going. Tag and B have been such a blessing to us. It's unreal at the blessing that they've been to us. And then, oh gosh, Bobby that was on with Billy and his videos. Mr. Bobby has been so kind to me and Ms. Wanda. and so generous. It's been unreal at how this community of people has pulled together, and we've all are a close-knit. We're almost, I'll be honest with you, we're closer than my own family is to me. And I'm blown away at the integrity of all these people that I mentioned. Now, this is not all of them. Don't feel slighted if I didn't mention your name and you've done something with us. But guys, Mr. John came here just the other day, and we traded out. I had some farm all plows, and he had a chicken plucker, and we made some bartering, done some swapping and stuff like this. Guys, made a great friend with Mr. John. I mean, I feel like we're friends for life now. I mean, very, very knowledgeable man, very kind man, him and his wife. They've already been back and visited since then. Guys, this community keeps growing stronger and stronger. And as time goes on, this is exactly what it's going to take to be able to survive. Wanda and I ran into a gentleman just about 20 minutes from here. That's where we got our pigs, this and that from. Buddy Farms, he's on Facebook. He sells pigs and pork and different things. If you want a pig to have him butchered, you just get a hold of Mr. Buddy over at Buddy Farms on Facebook, and he can set you up with a pig for butchering and all this kind of stuff. I mean, there's a community of people out here. We've had people, Steve and his wife have come by here. We've all done things together. I mean, guys, you've seen on our videos that the numbers of people that we've had contact with. When we had our gathering one time here in Wiggins, we had a lady and her family coming from North Mississippi down. They got into up here just around Jackson somewhere. I believe that was where it was at. And their car broke down on them. One of our subscribers stopped what they were doing and went and found them and helped them so they could make it on. And then they came on too to the gathering. Guys, stories like that blessed my heart. We had a lady from California that flew in down here to the Gulf Coast. They would not give her a rental car without keeping her credit card. She got a ride to the gathering from somebody. And at the gathering, I asked, was there anybody who could take this lady back to the coast to get her flight back? And there were several people that lifted their hands and said that they would, but we had one family that's very dear and close to us, actually took her back to the coast, and she was able to get her flight back out. And then we have lots of other friends, Tommy and Patty Alderman, guys. These people were just like the salt of the earth to us. They live probably 2 hours or a little better from us here. I mean, so many other YouTube channels and just subscribers. This community, I mean, we've got Mimsy's Garden and the lady that came with her. I mean, I don't even know where to start. There's so many people that has come together in these latter days of this age and seeing what's going on. And guys, that blesses my heart, because this has been my dream for years and years, is to help build a community of people that will help one another. And I'll guarantee you, I mean, Billy and Justin talk about helping one another all the time. Billy talks about working with other people in his community. Kevin and Sarah's told me about people in their communities that they've worked with. I mean, they go to the farmer's market, they meet people there, they sell plants to people there. I mean, it's just beyond my imagination as to how well this community has functioned together. It's like a fine oiled machine. And that brings joy to my heart to see this kind of thing come to fruition. And guys, I just wanted to do this video today, not singling out certain people that's any closer to me than anybody else, but I just wanted to just bring it to your attention about some of the people in this community. There's been people, Ms. D, that has sent me pecans fixing to be the third time. And I love pecans, and she's done this for me, and I don't even know how to say thank you. But she's blessed us because she knows by blessing us, she's going to receive a blessing in return. And that warms my heart. Guys, this is what it's going to take. You know, I used to preach a message a long time ago called, "Which one of the tater family are you in? Are you a agitator? Are you a participator? Or which one of the taters are you? A procrastinator? Which one?" I hope you're one of the participators. Guys, today I just wanted to say thank you to all the people out there that has been a blessing to me and Wanda, and that has been a blessing to each other in this community. And guys, let's continue to help one another. We have a man right now that's creating a project and a service that we can all use, and that's Mr. Justin from Metcalf Meals. I urge you to go and to donate to Mr. Justin. It don't matter if it's only $5, if it's $2, or if it's $10, if you want to give $100, whatever, to help this man get something out there for our communities to be a blessing to us where we can survive what's coming. I've already had several people, since I've said I was going to buy one of these meals, ask me, "Mr. Danny, if you get this meal, can we grind our grain with your meal?" And I said, yes, because this is what community is all about, guys. Once again, thank y'all so kindly for subscribing to Deep South Homestead and being a part of the community that we're a part of. Thank you, guys, from Deep South Homestead.